that's true. Naked Palpatine.
Oh, you pick that one. Fresh out of the clone tank, nude Palpatine is my
Well, that's the first thing I think of when you say Dark Empire Palpatine.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Star Wars Expanded Universe, narrated by Disney or Lucasfilm, whichever way you slice it. Legends. Today I have book 2 for you in the Black Fleet Crisis trilogy, Shield of Lies by Michael P. McDowell. So, this is, I don't have that much spoilers for you, like, at all, so this should not take as long. First thing I want to get out of my way is how much I hate how this book is structured. So the first book intermingled Luke's plot, Lando's plot, Leia's plot, bounced back and forth. I think the fact that it was 3 separate plot points actually made the entire book more interesting to dive through. And even though Luke's story is my least favorite, switching from Luke to Lando to Leia worked really well for me in that first book, making it be that, a pretty solid novel to me. The way it was structured made that really fluid for me to go through and made me engaged in pretty much every section of the page. However, this book doesn't have a 3-act structure. It just simply goes Lando section, Luke section, Leia section. So, and you won't hear any other side till you finish that particular section. And I found that really frustrating. And I did not like that at all. So the book starts with the Lando plot. Which is the most pointless plot and goes nowhere. The thing about it, I'm enjoying the adventure with Lando and everything, but it has nothing to do with the main plot. But again, in the first book it was fine because I was having fun. This one, we get to see Lando be a leader, which is nice. We get to see, how are they going to get out of this situation, or at least this portion of it. They still haven't gone off the ship yet because we have to get to book 3. But that's how that is. And that's basically it. They're on the ship, they're talking to one another, they're having a little bit of banter, but it's basically just them getting to the ship and figuring things out. As to what the ship is and everything, we still don't have an explanation for that. It was only a 4-chapter story. And then we jump from that to the Luke plot. And again, nothing really happens here. The most important bits is that, Akana keeps talking to Luke about what he's doing. How could you use a lightsaber to kill people and all that? She's giving him, these philosophy lessons, trying to have this debate, this discussion with him. Why are you doing the things that you're doing? This isn't right. You should be doing it this way. Da-da-da-da-da. They're just talking, And it's interesting. I enjoy hearing about the Fallen Aussie, kind of way of thinking, and I like when, sometimes Luke will concede a point, other times he'll double down, well, that's great, but this is how I am, this is how the Jedi should be, and you're not changing my mind. And I like that part. But again, like I said, the overall story so far, in first book and second book, with Luke has just been, and Lando's plot in the first book was great, but here it's just, and it's kind of disappointing. But you have that, and then you move on to the main plot, which is the last section of the book with Leia. And that one's still pretty good. I don't really have too many issues with that. It's still going, whenever fight scenes are involved, I think McDowell's, to me, I don't care about fight scenes, so I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm not one to discuss fight scenes, whether or not they're good or bad, because I don't really understand what is a good fight scene or not. It could be great, but I find fight scenes in novels absolutely boring. There's only a few authors who can change my mind about that, and McDowell's not one of them. So I found it rather boring. We do get to learn a lot about the Yvethan people. We get to see their weird way of mating. the males must, like if they're a lower caste, they have to like sacrifice themselves to the higher caste, and that's the way that they can obtain some sort of honor in death, is by getting their throat slit by the alpha males, basically, which is just okay. It's a bit weird, but that's what the Yvethan are. They're a proto Vong with how dark they are, and of course the females just have to capitulate and go, if they so choose you. That is your life. That is the Yvethan people. But you get more Leia moments, you get more Han moments. It's all good and great. We get more Akbar here, which is also great. As I said, the Leia plot remains the most consistent thing in this trilogy. I really hate the structure, though. Like, if they would have just bounced back and forth between the three storylines, I probably would have enjoyed this book a lot more. But instead, you just have this, closed, this, closed, this, then closed. And I don't like that sort of structure. I don't think it lends to the book well. The thing that's of the most significance in this book is that by the very end of it, Han gets captured by the Yvethan. The Yvethan have kidnapped Han, so now Han is the damsel in distress. Obviously, Han's not going to die. He's Han Solo. But how is he going to get out that mess? It's probably going to have something to do with Leia, because Leia's going to come to the rescue this time. But yeah, that's about it. I think Shield of Lies is a lot weaker, personally. I think this is a lot weaker of a novel than the previous one was. And it's definitely not my favorite of the trilogy. This one I can see why people just wouldn't like it, because it's rather boring. I did not enjoy this one nearly as much as the first one. And maybe I spoke highly of the trilogy as a whole, when I originally did my review of this, because I just reviewed it as, a single story, all three books. But this time I'm doing it individually. And as it stands, Shield of Lies is like a C for me. I don't do rankings, but I did. There are parts of this book I really enjoy, but there's a lot of it I also just don't. So this is more of a negative, like a net negative for me. But overall, that's my thoughts on Shield of Lies. I did enjoy it, though. I enjoyed aspects of it, but I don't know, man. It bugged me with some of the stuff going on. It is what it is. We'll see how the third one wraps up and see how Tyrant's Test fares for me. But the second book was for me, as compared to the first one. So, anyway, guys, I still, like I said, I still love the Leia plot, but those other two plot points, which were at least a little bit interesting, are now just So we'll see if that's correct in the third book or not. But that's overall my thoughts, guys. Anyway, until next time, may the Force be with you. Oh, actually, one last thing. They show Luke having like this Force illusion ability, which is actually pretty interesting. That was cool. I don't know if that ever gets brought up back again in the EU, but it was fun. Also, I just want to give big props to McDowell, because there's so much EU Bantamera connections in this novel that I just completely either forgot or just missed my first time through. So I really appreciate that about these books. But now, for real this time. Till next time, guys, may the Force be with you.